And good day. This is the Elliott Wave weekly update for the NASDAQ 100 being recorded on Saturday, August the 17th, 2024. I am going to begin with the NDX, and I'm actually going to start on the 4-hour chart. Not to be repetitive, but I'm not going to start on that weekly and just repeat things that are already, I'm very satisfied with how the labeling has been put in place right now. So I have no reason to really be shifting over to any alternate count unless I'm dealing inside what I'm counting as the minor fourth wave. So the argument as to whether this first initial ABC down only completed a minute degree A wave of that minor four, or is the possibility that it actually completed the minor four at this level. And that remains a possibility, but remember, it is still the alternate. And so the question would become, well, what would then force that alternate to become the preferred? And unfortunately, I know that the guideline is that when we get a zigzag for an A wave, it usually will rule out the potential or the probability of that B wave being more of a flat. So the whole structure would be the B comes back nearly to that high, and then you get a C wave, which basically takes you back down towards that low. Now, that I would not associate with the type of A wave that's been put in, that being a zigzag, a 5-3-5 count. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about what actually this was in between, but it can't be 5-3-3. That doesn't work in any shape or any structure. So I'm counting it as a 5-3-5. It's a zigzag, so I'm not anticipating it to run back to be a flat. But the next logical Fibonacci level, once it's not significantly broken above, I mean, it has and it hasn't, because it got up and it dropped back down. So that resistance level, the 0.618 for the minute wave B, came in at 19,447. While we reached past that, we actually went past 1.618 for the minuet C. So again, could this have completed both the B and possibly the C? Yes, it could. It changes that internal count a little bit, but we now have that to sit with and realize what signals will the market give us that will indicate that, yep, that marked the spot, and now we are going to begin to head lower in a C wave. Again, this is a technical picture. So again, most people want to associate, well, what's going to cause it to tip over and fall over? And actually, to be honest with you, I think that really falls down to how things now trade. So in other words, it's like there are so many new products, and there are ETFs based on volatility. There are futures into volatility. There is the VIX index itself. There are many different variations of ETFs, and there are ETFs now that basically are classified ETFs, but what they are is an ultra long in NVIDIA, the stock, not NVIDIA options, NVIDIA, the stock, and or an ultra short, and there's millions of dollars that are being tossed into that. So it adds a level of trading in NVIDIA, in Apple, in Tesla, because all of the Mag 7 have these new ETFs, pretty much. I don't know that for certain, but I know they exist in Tesla, Apple, NVIDIA, and likely SMCI, anything that's been really expressing high volatility. So again, it throws another layer on us. Like, so what are we seeing? That if they're selling the VIX for the cash, for the money, what are they doing with those funds? Where are they shifting those funds to? And most often it could be into one of these ETFs. It could be into the options on one of the underlying. And so you can see how things become more complex in terms of trading vehicles and how they're used, and putting on a position in one creates another position somewhere else that's hedging, and you're building. So again, what I'm trying to really just focus in on is when those numbers are the ones that change. That then produces the movement in our index because it goes down the line. If it happens to NVIDIA, if it happens to the Mag 7, then it's happening to the cash market. It's happening to those individual stocks. And those individual stocks have varied weighting in this index. So why do I pay attention to what's really kind of happening? Because of how it all now trades. The amount of capital, the amount of money that sits across the board in these derivatives of a stock, right, in one way or another. They're either an ultra long or they're an ultra short or they're 1.25. They come in varying degrees, but they're attracting a lot of money. And so all of this flow produces changes in how we monitor a position via what the delta is. And that goes with what the stock is doing, what is happening to the gamma. That again goes to the price movement. And what levels then via models would, if that is broken, if a level is broken, what does it do? Well, it may be a resistance level that is also just backed up by either short calls or short puts. And that then depends on, okay, is that a resistance level? And if it gets broken to the upside and it's short calls, what happens to those positions? Well, they explode in the face of the holder, depending on the size. So it forces across several levels, several places, an adjustment. So there could be an adjustment in the ETF, an adjustment in the future, an adjustment in the stock, then an adjustment in the options, and that's all money being flipped around, and that changes those numbers. And that produces the moves that we see so often. We're like, wow, it just broke that level. Why is it suddenly exploding? Well, it was resistance, and here's what. The gamma switched, and here's why. So it forces all these traders to react, to make adjustments. And in this case, if you're getting shorter, you need to buy. You don't need to sell more. You need to buy because you need to cover. Okay, so back at the farm, what I attempt to do here is I'm showing that just the money flows could have changed that thought of how Elliott told us that, well, we have Fibonacci fractals that deal with the time. And so if we use them and comparing them to a previous correction, in this case, this 4, you can compare it to this 4. How long did this take? How long has this taken? This took less than 2 weeks. That was pretty dang fast. This was August the 5th, and this was July the 11th. So I'm sorry, 3 weeks. So less than a month, where this was March to April, which actually was also a month. So this to this, it fits, but this should be greater because it's of a higher degree. So I apologize for making that comparison, but it could fit if I compare the two, since I'm comparing this low to where I expect this low to come in. So based on all of that, the time fractal for this compares to that. The level that this came in is towards the bottom side of the box that I've been using and showing, because the fourth wave, the minor fourth wave, should find its terminus or its endpoint within the price territory, if not at that low of the fourth wave of one lesser degree. And there it is, minute 4 versus minor 4. That was met. The time factor, wave pattern to wave pattern, fourth wave to fourth wave, 1 degree higher, but still comparison, also pretty much matched. So could this have completed the whole thing? I can't say no. But I'm leaving my count as is, because this is also showing kind of signs of a little bit of starting to slow. I want to see what happens, because we had an options expiration on Friday. So that releases a lot of many things. First of all, gamma, delta, that because positions have expired. So they convert. If you're getting stock, then that's what you get. If you're getting cash, then that's what you get. Or you're paying out. One way or the other, everything settles. So we get to come in on Monday and see that gamma has been dissipated. It's off the boards. So what will that do to the calculations? Where will the call wall, the put wall, where does it move to? It obviously will, because again, it was an August expiration in our indexes, in the Qs, in the spiders, in the diamonds, across the board, IWM, everybody had an expiration. And all of their subsequent derivatives built on them, if they trade options, had an expiration. If not, they still come into play because of the movement between the options and the underlying, since the others are also based on the underlying. So you get this massive move going on of all this capital. Now, you may ask, so what as a day trader, what am I really trying to do? You can even do it as a swing trader. I'm trying to kind of go in there in this quick movement of, just think of like a whirlwind carrying all this money, because it's just moving from place to place to place, and you have the ability to go in and actually trade it via one of those instruments. Well, you're just trying to go in, grab a piece of the pie, put it into your P&L pile to the positive, make a certain amount and say, thank you, done for the day. I'll come back and do this again tomorrow. Instead of attempting to go in and make a home run each and every day, or you're setting your goal too high, or you're risking too much, you kind of can start to change things. And with additional information, you can really produce success for yourself. Now, is it easy? No. It demands your attention. It demands you trade by your numbers. You got to be like an algorithm. You got to trade similarly. And you have to kind of go with what your numbers are telling you at that particular time, and what certain levels get broken, what's going to happen. When you have that type of information, it's like it gives you a little bit of an edge, but you still have to be on your toes. So in any case, that was a little bit of a speech, because I'm also, before I detail some of this analysis, I also just wanted to conclude that I have the new promotion is out. The new more intense trade room, in other words, intense amount of information, is now. We're in the promo period, so that those who wish to join, we have a special promo price for the first month. So you can get to come in, take a look, see if we fit, see if it all works, see if you're able to follow what we're doing and able to make money. So the promo price is $200. The regular price is $299. So it's kind of giving that little bit, come in, a little bit of a discount. You're not committed to a long-term, type of a play. It is month by month by month. And so if it works and the information helps you, then great, you hang out. If not, thank you for giving it a try. So the promo is out. Go to the website, which is tradershelpingtraders.com. There is a link for the trade room. That'll give you the point where you can get the information that you need and join should you choose. All right, back to the NASDAQ. So again, explaining why this could have completed it. I'm leaving it as an A because the B wave does seem to be maybe finishing up a lot, because we had a monthly expiration on Friday. Was that monthly expiration enough to kick off or set us up to where we could start to fall? Yes, it really does, because as I explained, we've reached levels, the 618 and the 1.618, that should and could complete this move. If the way I'm counting, I'm going to drop it down to the hourly so we can look inside. The way I'm counting is that we have the A and the B. The B was in irregular, so we have a B. And now we're into the C wave, which will consist of 5 waves. Best counted right now, I'm thinking, is 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. And then possibly even 3 of the 3. But I'm kind of giving it a little bit that it's not. I mean, I'll even go up to there. Or I got another deal where it's a toughie, because you can see the way it moved. So is this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, which is 1 degree lower, and then we get a little 4 and we get a 5. That's a 3, and then we get a 4 and then we get another 5. Very possible. But the way that the cash and then the NQ trade, of course, is going to be different, because I want to see what this fill is. I want to see what this fill is. And of course, we closed the cash closed and the future continued to trade for an additional hour. So we'll see what that is, and we'll go over and we'll read it in the NQ. But right now, according to this chart, and if you trade by the cash chart, you have to leave open that this is only the 3. We have a 4, or it can only be the 3 of 3. We have a small 4, a 5 to complete this 3, so that gets moved up. And then we get another 4, and then we get another 5 to finish the overall 5. So if this is it, then we're getting a small 4 now. We got one more leg up. If not, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 additional legs. 2 down, 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 2, to finish the whole shebang. Now, pulling it back out to that 4-hour chart because I want to look at our fibs. So here we go. We're going to go into here. So since it's exceeded 618, the next logical step would be 78.6. And that level is 19,995, I'll call it. Does it have to hit it on the head? No, it doesn't. But considering what may be left to do, it may. Now, I get pretty much where you want to call it something different, like the alternate, when it starts to really get too close. But if I'm going to stick to that, what it's breaking is the guideline versus the rule, B waves can go irregular and still come tumbling down. So again, how we are trading today, right, where everything is algorithmic. And so they go by the input, and how that affects Elliott, we may be finding out more. So I'm not going to rule anything out just yet. I still believe that either this is done and this will turn into a 5th wave. And therefore, it could be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of an internal 3, a 4, and a 5 of this larger 3, and then a 4, and then a 5. And so, yes, we could go up and make a new high if indeed minor 4 is here and done. Now, granted, if you're a position trader, yes, this is like making you grind your teeth at night because it changes, but that's the market. It isn't necessarily the Elliott. The Elliott, and what changes Elliott is going to be that the removal of human emotion, which is still part of the market, believe it or not, as algorithmic as it gets, because money is money. And fear of not having enough or fear of losing, that's what really gives us our waves. And algorithms will only go with what the plug is. If the plug is buy it, then it's going to get bought. And if it's an interchanging with a trade, what the difference is that previously people, you came in even there was a different setup. They didn't have to just put through their buys and then they could put through their sells. I mean, they got, things traded differently. Let me put it that way. In any case, sorry, because I digress a lot. I cannot rule out that the 4 is done, nor can I rule out that the 4 is going to be a little bit more extended and get closer to that before we're done and we would come back down in a C wave. Or the alternate. It is done here on August the 5th. And what we're working through is the minor wave 5 to move up and complete the intermediate 3rd wave. Remember what I've been discussing all along is that we have primary wave 4. So we're in the intermediate 1 and 2, we're in intermediate wave 3. If intermediate 4 completed here and we're rising in a minor 5th wave, well, that's going to complete the intermediate 3rd wave. And then we would have different calculations in terms of where can this go. Right now, I'd have to go way out in factors. So in other words, it's not 4.236. It's not even 4.618 or 5.618. It's up there because of the length of wave 1. So there is a lot still to be determined in terms of height, in terms of now, in terms of later, in terms of, is this not just minor three, but it's a higher degree? Is it an intermediate three, or could it even be higher? I have seen and read that there's an analyst who is saying that this top up here is primary wave three, a primary degree move, and I'm saying it's a minor. So that's like, so it goes minor, intermediate, primary. So it's like 2 degrees higher. It's like saying that you had a 5.6 earthquake, but actually it was more closer to an 8.6. That's the degree, it's higher. So if it is, this correction is in its infancy. So I don't necessarily see that, but I can't say no. Because we're in a place where we could get a nasty C wave and it could kick in. And at these levels, and to break the back of the trade that's holding it up, it has to be a major shift in gamma. And so that, and what would have to be hit is a put wall would have to be taken out, slaughtered, put to the side of the road for roadkill. That's the kind of determination I think has to be shown in the C wave. It's got to bust all of this right out. And there's going to have to, and then the answer to that is immediate adjustment. They must adjust positions. Don't forget, this is like major big money in there. So they can adjust the position and still be fine. So, you know, I don't ever go to the conversation of who's losing money, you're going to lose your shirt. As an individual, yeah, you do. If we're not going to pay attention to what the larger money can do and not have a thought about, oh, someone's losing big, who gives a crap? It could be you. So anyway, here we go. So on the big picture, I think, yep, we could be finished, or nope, we could go down, come up, go down, come up, and still end up towards 19,988, or almost 20,000 basically. And if I had a 4, I'd be able to throw in some additional fibs inside there. Right now, not really. I could throw some here, which might give us where that upper 3 might get to. Let me just try that. So you can see 1.618 is 19,806. And that might just be the third. And then we come down in a 4 and we come back up. Or anywhere below that. So you can see that a third, yeah, could have been done there. It's exceeded that, so the natural move would take it up to here. But my thought is, it's like what comes now is the actual structure. If you can count the 5 clean, then that's probably going to be your endpoint. And then you get a 4 and you get another 5. All right. So moving averages, actually, see what happened on the 1 hour. The 50 crossed the 200. Supportive. Supportive for upside, supportive for upside. It would reverse because you see how close they start to get. Still climbing, but now it's the 13 gets intertwined, being broken, taken out, etc. So again, the 20 is the one that's next. If the 20 starts to break, then I'm going to be looking for something stronger to the downside. Let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ, at the NQ. I'm sorry, this is much longer than it probably should be. It's the same type of deal, but a little bit different, Again, I'm going to go out to that 4-hour chart because I'm going to give you the same spiel. Here we have the box. Now, the NASDAQ did get to the bottom of the box. In fact, the bottom of the box was 17,371, and that low was 17,351. So it exceeded it by a little bit, then retook it very nicely. All right. So got into the box. Time-wise, it's the same. The same amount of time. So it's still on that level. Could this be minor wave 4 and we're in minor 5? Yes. And what would be the reaction? Well, the reaction is that we're likely going to go up and take out that high, right? Minor 5 should take out the high of minor 3. But we're starting to get into upper levels from here If we're getting up here, well, we're not there yet, but you can see if we get up here, that is that minor calculation. And it actually is 20,900. It's right under there, 20,909. And that would put it pretty flat. And that would, again, 535. New rule? No, not a new rule, new guideline. So maybe one of the differences is that we get an A wave and the B wave does go back and nearly take out the high. But if I have to run the same thing, it's like, well, if it was a flat, you're going to get an irregular B. This is not a flat. The A and the B and the C don't come down and equal each other. It's an ABC in a zigzag. So, but getting up here, we may have to accept 786. It's not breaking the rule. The guideline says it shouldn't come above 618. But I don't remember reading it as a rule, or I don't remember Elliott discussing if it goes above that, it's not. So I'm going to allow it to here and still get that nasty C wave down. Now, could the C wave be in place in terms of not in place, that getting ready to start? And it could. Because here we are, 618, we've exceeded it. But here, the C wave, 1.618, we've hit it. We hit it on the nose. This is 683, pretty much. 683, and it's at 90. Coming within 7, yeah, I'll accept that. So, in any case, hits it. So could the C wave be done? It could, but then I have to mark this a little bit differently, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. See, kind of get stuck. So I'm still looking for another. Yeah, that's the 4. I maybe have to drop this down a notch as well, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're in the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that puts this 3. Because it's subdivided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So it could be that we get down, we come up, we go down. Same thing as I said in the cash market. It goes up and down twice. 2 ups, 2 down. Right now would be a continuation of the down, unless that did it. So take this down a degree, and then we got another up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get here, we come back down, we come back up. So there's a lot that can happen in terms of just movement before we actually would get any signal that, okay, done. Upside, I really would not be looking for this to extend and extend and extend and get it up to here unless it actually was the alternate. Unfortunately, you can see we got to actually get up. And I actually would be looking for it to go here. Again, how you want to trade that? We got this position here. Could it end in a failure? Yeah, it really could. Minor 5 could end in a failure if it got up there. I know I'm sounding confusing, and I apologize. I'm sticking with that it gets up and we do a C wave and then rally in that minor 5. But if I'm off by a month because of the time factor, I have to consider this could be minor 4, and this is 1, 2, and we're finishing a 3 and a 4 and a 5, and we do end up here. How, if you're a position trader and you shorted here looking for a down move, either you're going to add to it, or if it's reaching past where you don't want to risk that much, well, then you have to consider a stop. You have to consider that you're going to wait, or you're going to need to do something to keep the position alive, and leaving it as is not the answer. That would be my mention. Okay, so we have both sides. So we have resistance now. This comes in here, 2009. 20,009, excuse me, and then 20,357. But I have stronger 786 at 20,208. I'll tell you what my personal feeling is. My personal feeling is I'd like it to hold just above or just below 20,000 and be done. And then we get the start of the C wave. I still think that the C wave will be some shock to the market that could come via an earnings report. We still got some big boys out there yet to speak. And that just flips it and goes. Remember, I just talked, and I know this is too long, on what happens when all of these different various products, which are intertwined, that the stock starts it. The price of the stock, but that price of the stock can really be started by what's trading in the options. So again, different conversation. Moving averages are actually all in a good position for this to continue to go higher. Obviously, the 13 is the first one in the lineup. If that starts to turn, then it's going to be the 20. The 20th doesn't have a whole lot of space between where it's at and where this would have to come down. That's 19,320 is where the 20 is sitting. That could be nothing to get down through. One foul nasty gap and we're done. And it's now going through there and they're heading for here, which is 19,000. If you consider that anything above 19,000 was just air, because we really should be moving lower, well, there might be a lot of people that agree with you, and then it just kind of falls. So now I am going to complete there because I tend to just go on. The main thing is the promo, guys. The promo price is in place. If you thought about that you want to come and trade, you'd like to try out day trading, or you just want to have a different view, I add those break points and what they are in terms of where gamma is sitting and what that gamma change would produce in the market. That's really helpful for day trading. It can be really helpful for swing trading as well. And those markets that I'm covering are the NASDAQ, the S&P. I will do IWM if it's the Russell and the IWM, spiders, Qs. So there's levels for all of those. All right, I'm going to finish this. The next daily update will be on Monday, August the 19th.